This conference will now be recorded.
All right. So that's the topic for today. We are going to look at the career path, prospects, and certifications. But prior to that, I'll just give you a brief understanding of business analysis or business analyst profile as a whole. So it may be different from what you have understood, or it may be an extension of whatever you have so far understood about business analysis. So before I start, I just want to have a quick kind of a survey from all of you. Tell me what is your current role? Just type in the chat window. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing business analyst, project manager, operations, IT assistant manager, business analyst. Okay. Somebody is from learning industry, education industry also. All right. Okay. All right. So that's fine. I got a fair bit of idea. So there's a mixed kind of uh, you're coming from different kind of background. So it seems some of you are interested in becoming a business analyst. Some of you interested to know how the profile can take shape for you. All right. So I'll be able to answer all this. Let me take you through the presentation, and then in the end, if you are still having questions, we can discuss that. Just a quick bit of information about myself. So I have uh, spent 20 years, 28 years in the IT industry, uh, performed roles into business analysis, project management, program management, and even uh, senior roles after that. Uh, I'm an author, guest speaker, and a blogger, and also I am CBAP certified from IIBA. So let's start by looking at who's a business analyst. All right. So uh, I guess most of you are familiar with the typical definition of an business analyst, saying business analyst is an intermediary between the business and the IT company. Okay, where they gather requirements, they create specifications, which is then given to the IT company or the IT team, which is technology development team. They develop the solution, it comes back to the BA, goes to the business. Okay, this is the typical business analyst role, which a lot of us believe that that is what a BA does. Okay, is there anyone here in this audience who believes that no, this is not all which a BA does? What's your opinion? Anybody wants to kind of say that okay, business analyst may be doing something more than this? If yes, then what is that?
So hi, Mr. Abhishek. This is Anand. I can go first. So business analyst, more than business analyst also is responsible for looking at the existing process and providing suggestions to improve the process as a whole or some sections of the process. And to do so, they might be required to also deal with a lot of data to churn through data in order to understand the existing process and provide a suitable recommendation.
Correct, correct. That is absolutely correct point. Anybody else? So Anand was referring to process improvement. Okay. Uh, any other view? Okay, no problems. I'll give you a much broader picture in terms of what I'm trying to drive at. Let's look at this search. All of you must be familiar with this kind of a search. So you go to Amazon.com, you search for something, you get the result, and some suggestions on the right side at the bottom, something like customers who bought this item also bought, or customers who viewed this item also viewed this. Right? You, all of you must be familiar with this either on Amazon or any other website where you can go and buy books. This obviously is part of the website. It's a software solution. Can anyone tell me in this scenario what was the objective of displaying these things on the website? Was it
To
just an additional feature or Amazon wanted to achieve something else as well? Yeah, please go ahead.
so that's in order to improve the user experience, Abhishek, and also thereby to generate more revenue from their um, from their store, and if it is an e-commerce store or from their website otherwise. So that's the idea of um, promoting their products in order to achieve more business from existing customers and also from new customers.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Any other answers? Okay. So as Anand rightly mentioned, one of the key objectives of Amazon was to increase the revenue by promoting certain other books or certain other lines of or some other opportunities where people, even if they don't find books which they are looking for, they can still be interested in something else which might be a purchase, which might convert into a purchase. So here the objective of Amazon was not just to kind of develop a feature, but to achieve an end result. And that is one of the important aspects of business analysis. So if you look at business analysis actually is about finding out how to address a problem a business is facing and then ensuring that that solution addresses the problem. Please note, I have not mentioned software so far. What we are saying is that business analysis starts when an organization faces a problem. It could be a problem, that is an issue. It could be an opportunity which the business is trying to capitalize on, like launching a new service, launching an API, launching a new line of business, launching a new product, or facing a problem with the existing processes. That is the situation when customer needs to find a solution. The next step is to figure out if there are ways to solve that problem. If yes, is it going to make sense for the business to do it? Is the cost is less than the benefits which is expected to be procured or got from the solution which is going to be implemented. So if my cost is 100,000 and the return is going to be 90,000, no business is going to invest in that. So addressing a need requires a solution which makes sense for the organization. That is where a proper solution is recommended. Finally, if that solution, which could be an IT solution or it could be a non-IT solution or a combination of both, right? It could be having a software plus training your team, recruiting new people, creating new processes, opening new offices. It could be a combination or one individual IT process, IT solution or non-IT solution. Now, depending on that, company needs somebody, an outsourcing partner, to implement that solution. If it happens to be a software solution, then we get a vendor, like an IT company, to get it implemented. Okay, so business analysis, what we looked at from the previous slide was describing only this part, where a project team interacts with the business to develop a solution, which ultimately is going to address this need. Okay, but this part is also considered to be part of business analysis practice. So, business analyst as a professional might be doing this activity or this activity. This one I call it as projects BA. BAs who are involved in the project. This one can be called as business consultants or enterprise BA. Different names can be given in different organizations. This, this is how business analysis practice works. Now, in this case, consider the situation that the problem could be related to data analysis. The problem could be related to processes, improvement of processes. The problem could be related to a manual process which needs to be automated. The scope of business analysis spans across different segments, right? Which means whether it's a data science project, it's a IT solutions or process improvement project, or it's a simple IT solution project. Business analysis is everywhere. So if you look at the IIBA definition, this is one of the better definitions to have come out in the recent times. It says it's the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining the needs, which is this, and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholders. That's the value. Like in Amazon case, the value was increase the revenue. The value was not developing the recommendation engine, which is a data science solution. Okay, so it was going beyond the software development, but goes to help business achieve some value. So the idea of this slide was to give you a broader perspective of what is business analysis before we start understanding the aspects related to prospects and career paths. Okay, so let's move forward. So the first thing is the demand. What's the prospect? So have you seen that business analysis is like all pervasive kind of a practice which spans across multiple segments? But there are other things also which we can consider and kind of opine that business analysis is something which is in demand. Okay, so if you look at LinkedIn Learning, this is some of the data. There are many other data sources which can be looked at. Business analysis is ranked as number 6 out of the top 15 LinkedIn searches on the skills front. There's a forecast from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics till 2028 for this 10-year period that there's going to be a 14% growth in the demand for professionals who are termed as business analysts. As far as India is concerned, the digital workforce is growing quite rapidly, and the growth expected by 2023 is supposed to be 30%. Considering the larger base which Indians in India we have for IT workforce, 30% is a massive increase. Finally, even though the growth has slowed down for every country because of the COVID and many other reasons, but in the long run, for a 10-year or a decade, the world is expanding. Overall, world is expanding, which means all the businesses which are growing will use IT. If you see around, you'll find hardly any business which does not use IT applications. Which means that if we look at expansion of the businesses grow at faster rate compared to GDPs or the country's economy. So if businesses are growing at X percent, 11% of that is getting into application development and deployment, which is what we are concerned with. Okay, so 11% is not a small amount if you consider the size of the economy of the businesses, which is $4.3 trillion. And a lot of this comes in the BFSI segment, banking, financial services, and insurance. So there is a lot of demand which is expected to arise. And the reasons for that is not just that businesses are growing just like that. Businesses are growing because the customers are ready to pay for better services. It's a fact. All of us agree with that we can pay more if we get better service. Which means businesses are going to grow if they are ready to deliver better services. Now, with customer expectations increasing, better services required, IT initiatives are becoming more and more complex. Businesses are getting into arenas where a lot of disruptions are happening. That is also, you term it as transformations which are happening, something which is completely disruptive, something which is completely built over the top of the existing businesses. Look at Uber. Best example, Uber does not own any cars. Airbnb do not own any hotels. That's the example of the kind of transformation we are living in. You never know what can happen tomorrow. Tomorrow you may be able to make calls without owning a mobile phone. Who knows what's possible? These are getting into areas where innovations are happening, a lot of demand, and these innovations are not possible without IT. Okay, so you have to be clear that in the near future, IT applications are going to grow, and as IT applications are going to grow, the demand for professionals for the IT industry is also going to grow. Okay, now which means that we as business analysts will have some opportunities in the industry to grow. So how can we define the growth part? How can we look at how we can grow as a business analyst? Okay, so let's start with option 1, which is path A, where you start as a business analyst. Okay, so many of you who are not yet business analysts, you will transition from some other either from a non-IT background or from an IT background. You'll become a business analyst, or you're planning to become a business analyst. Okay, once you become a business analyst, that is, or in the process of becoming a business analyst, the certification which is relevant for you is the IABA ECBA certification. That is one certification currently where there's no equivalent certifications available. Okay, so that's the level of initial entry into business analysis. Once you work as a business analyst for some time, or as you start getting some confidence as a business analyst, what you can do, you can start looking at opportunities as to how you can grow. One of the paths which I'm suggesting right now is to get into agile world. So you can look at becoming an agile business analyst, meaning getting into projects or getting into agile specific or agile approaches, and there performing as a business analyst. The next logical part from agile BA is to become a product owner. Product owners play a very important role in every project. Okay, so you can, from the agile BA, you can become a product owner. You can also move from business analyst directly to a product owner with right kind of skilling and even maybe certifications. So for product owner, there are multiple options available, not just one. So there is an IIBA CPOA certification. There is a scrum.org PSPO certification, level 1, level 2, and there is a Scrum Alliance CSPO certification. All of these are good. They all follow different kinds of approaches to product owner, but at the end of the day, all of them are working on simple concept of validating your skills as a product owner. Okay, so for becoming a product owner, you need to have good understanding of how to handle requirements. You also need to have good understanding of uh, the domain, the business side of it. That those two combinations will help you in becoming a product owner. Okay, once you become a product owner, the next logical step, as per path A, is to become a product manager. I'm sure you must have heard about product manager, one of the very high in demand profiles in today's world. A lot of people want to become product managers. It's a pretty wide-ranging role, uh, which kind of works at the intersection of sales, marketing, and engineering. Okay, engineering means software development, marketing, and sales. All three is like a at the intersection of these three, you will have product managers who will be guiding the entire product initiative. Okay, so they are basically responsible for that entire product. So like for example in Facebook, there is a division called Facebook Shops, which is coming up now. Okay, that is headed by a product manager. He or she is responsible for all the things inside Facebook Shops. Similarly in Flipkart, if you go and see, there will be a lot of product managers. Okay, now the product managers can grow into a more senior role like product director, who is like maybe a business head kind of a scenario, or they might be handling a larger chunk of products into maybe one vertical. Okay, so from product manager you can get into product director. For the product manager, there are certifications available. Okay, so there is a product school which offers certifications for product managers, but in my view, product management is a more complex thing than just getting a certification. So there are some courses which are available, which are 6 months courses, more comprehensive. Not 6 months, 6 months. Some of them are 3 months to 6 months courses. So there is Stanford which offers it, Kellogg offers it. In India, IIM Indore offers it, ISB Hyderabad offers it. Some other IIMs also offer it. They are offered by now good academic institutions worldwide. They're expensive, but they're worth doing it. They take you through really deep case studies, some good amount of projects. So that's a good experience to have as a product manager. Then, so that can lead you to a more senior position, which is product director. From there, depending on your many other skills, you can become a CXO level person. But this is not kind of something which everybody can become. Okay, it requires some many other skills which you need to have. But this is one of the paths which is possible as a business analyst. Next, look at the next other path, which is more traditional one, which is from business analyst. You become a more mid-level BA where you can handling process improvement. You're working on BPM projects. You're working on many other tasks which are not possible for junior business analysts. Then you can become a senior business analyst where you might be working as an enterprise BA or the business consultant, or larger initiatives where you can even lead a team of business analysts. From there, you can get into project management, which is a more traditional role or traditional approach which a lot of business analysts take. So from business analyst path, you get into project management. Obviously, it depends if you like to manage a team. If you don't like to manage a team, if you are more interested in kind of being alone, then maybe you need to stick to being senior business analyst or to the next profile, next path, which I'm going to show you. So then once you get into project management, then that's a more management kind of a role. So project management, senior project manager, project director, and then from there to C level. A lot of project directors can become chief operating officers or COOs. Some of them actually become CEOs also. That's another path which you can take as a business analyst. So here some certifications which are relevant is of course the CBAP, CCBA from IIBA that I missed. Then at the project management level, you have CAPM, which is an entry level project management certification, PMP, which is kind of a very popular, respected uh, certification for people who are working as a business analyst, and there is a program management certification also. Okay, so these kind of certifications, you can have a look at it to kind of validate your skills. The last one, which is more for people who like to work alone, who don't want to get into any kind of management. So the first path A, path B, both had management angle. At some point in time, you are getting into management, whether to handle teams. But if you're not too interested in that, then one of the very rewarding career path is domain subject matter experts, where you can pick up one area and specialize in that. It could be, let's say, in banking. It could be payments domain, like one of the business domains, payments domain. You can get into CRM, you can get into something like that. Or you can choose a product and become a product SME. Like you can become an SME for Salesforce, or you can become as an SME for an ERP product like SAP or Oracle Business Suites. You can specialize in those areas and become expert in that. These people are well respected, they get good salary, but they work more like an individual. So if your organization is kind of specializes into SAP implementations, you'll always be busy. There'll be a lot of work because every implementation will require your help. You will be the person who is going to talk to the stakeholders and understand the requirements, even suggest them because you have done it many a times. But there is a downside to this profile. It's a pretty powerful role. You are well respected. You are going to be invaluable to the organization. No company will like to fire you. But that power also has a negative side to it. That means you will never be able to go beyond this because most of the roles after a point becomes a management role, especially in the IT industry. Unless you know either you bring business or you can manage people, the growth becomes limited in the IT industry. If you can bring business to the IT organization, you can always grow. Any designation is possible for you. But if you can't bring business, if you can't manage a team, you can still find a good slot for yourself, but then you can't expect to become a CXO. That will be a tough ask. Okay. So these are the three paths which are possible for you to choose any one of them, depending on your choice, depending on what is your interest. Anyone is possible. But if you see the first two, path A and path B, actually merge at this point where you can get into project management or product management. It becomes more like a management role. Unlike this one, which is not a management role, which is more like a individualistic role where you can excel as a domain SME or a product SME. Okay, so that's all I wanted to share. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Or you can type in the chat window.
Hi Abhishek.
Yep.
It's nice to connect and join this webinar session. So it's very rare. And, thank you for all the insights for aspiring business analysts, which are just trying to change their career paths at this point in time. I have one question. So, do we have any sort of timelines to get into the next level? Let's say we are now transitioning from a domain knowledge expert or kind of non-IT or IT background to a business analyst. So how long usually does it take to get into a senior business analyst as per your industry expertise?
There's no fixed timeline, but I feel that uh, it shouldn't be too slow. It should be too fast. So the transitioning to from level 1 to level 2 should be in between 2 years to 5 years. 5 years is the
Yeah,
max. 2 years is the min. You can do it faster than 2 years. Some people do it, but 2 to 5 is the range which I would suggest that you should be targeting to move from one role to another role. You should not be delaying beyond that. Otherwise, you will get lost and you may pay the price later.
yeah. Right. And if I talk about my experience, I'm an investment banking professional, which I'm in derivative space with operations background, where we'll be, it's almost like a client servicing thing.
Cinema, just one
And
second. Your voice is
Hello?
cracking. Can you
Oh,
repeat
I'm
your?
sorry. One second.
Give me 1 second. Let me fix. Sorry. Yes, Srinivas. Now I think I've just fixed my headphone. There was some problem here. Sorry. Can you please repeat?
Okay, I think even no, I'm an investment banking professional. I'm in operations background with where it's client servicing role, markets domain, and I'd like to switch to as a business analyst professional. So,
Yes.
like you said, I see ECPA is a certification that you are recommending. So, what about C? Hello.
Hello. Yeah, there's a lot of background noise coming from your side. 1 second. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
no, no, it's actually not from your side. I think it's somebody else's mic. Can everyone go on mute, please? Let me check if I can hear him. Yeah.
Am I loud and clear now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm an investment professional, investment banking professional with from capital markets domain. So I'd like to switch to a business analyst. Take up the career path of business analyst. I've gone through. I mean, you have recommended ECP certification as an entry level thing, right? So, are there any other certifications to get into this role of experienced
No.
professionals?
No. So see, look, the two things which I would tell you is that, see, the only way to get into uh, from a non-IT background to IT background is to start as an entry level BA. There's no problem with that. It's not like
Okay.
a fresher position, okay? Because IT industry understands that you are coming with an experience. Your salary may be a problem because you see, companies are going to pay you as per their job profile which they're expecting, okay?
Okay.
But there is a recognition of people who are coming with different domains, bringing some experience, even though it may not be of IT. There is a recognition. It's not that you are treated like a fresher. Okay, so that is one.
Okay.
The good news is
Okay.
that because IT industry is a growth oriented industry, the speed of growth is faster than other industries. Okay, it may
Okay.
not be 100% growth every year, but it is definitely growing faster than every other industry, which means that even if there is a cut in the salary in the shorter term, you can cover it up much faster on a longer term basis. So net net, you are going to actually be much better financially compared to your existing industry.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that is a given. There's absolutely no problems with that. I don't have any doubts on that.
Okay. Because I mean, if I look at my domain, it's vertically, it's kind of very limited. So that's the reason, since like you said, IT industry is booming. So there are plethora of opportunities outside related to digital world. Because all the companies are, everybody's transforming their business to digital. So, uh,
Yeah, correct. So as I mentioned, business analysis is a good profile. So get into that.
Hello.
It will definitely be rewarding.
I have a question.
Yes,
yeah.
Nawab.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, actually, I'm from sales and business development background. So I would like to understand what level of proficiency is required in terms of IT, because IT programming
Hmm.
basically. At the time of engineering, we have done a very basic sort of codings and programming. So I'd like to understand what level of coding experience is required, or a fresher is anytime a welcome.
No, so no coding experience required. For IT
Okay,
business analyst, the person who is involved in gathering requirements from the customer for a software project, no programming skills required at all.
okay, nothing is required. So, like, if you, I have gone through, I mean, various, programming coaching institutes and all, where they say it is required the basic knowledge for R, Python,
Yeah,
uh,
correct.
W.
Good.
These are all of things are there. So,
No, no. So good that you have
so that
raised
I
this
was
point.
very curious on that. Yeah.
No, no, correct. So that's a fundamental confusion in the industry today, especially for a person who is not familiar with that area. It's a big confusion. So see,
Okay.
business analyst, as I was explaining earlier, it's a all pervasive profile. So it is used in projects which are related to data analysis. It is useful for a project where you're simply developing a software and many other areas. Okay. When we are talking about the business
Okay.
analyst, which is shown here, I'm
Yeah.
referring to a profile which is called IT business analyst. Here, The only proficiency required is in the fields of managing stakeholders, gathering requirements, able to write documentation for that, creating some flowcharts and prototypes, all of that. Okay. So what you are hearing as a business analyst is something which is a profile which is more suited to data analytics projects where you need to learn R, Python, Tableau, but there is a big confusion. I will not get into that right now because nobody can become a data scientist just like that. You can't just become by doing a certification course, you become a data scientist where you know R, Python. R itself takes many months to learn. And the business analyst requirements, if you see, and the courses which are offered, it has everything: R, Python, Tableau, Power BI, everything. How in the world you're going to learn all of that in 3 months? Nobody can learn it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the real confusion that was
Uh,
going on. I mean, like
yeah.
some
So don't
courses offering for 6 months, somebody offering in 3 months, somebody taking 2 years. A lot of confusions over there in that.
correct. It requires a lot of time because especially for people who have never done programming. I mean, picking
Yeah,
up programming itself is a major task. And then all
yeah,
that packed
exactly.
syllabus, it is impossible for people to even attempt to get to kind of a one position from 0 to 1. Expectation of that profile is to have on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 level of skills. So what you can do, you can still get into data analytics world. There's absolutely no problems. Become a business analyst. And once you get into business analysis, your IT understanding, managing stakeholders, how a project works will become clear. And then you decide if you have an aptitude for programming, you learn that and become a data analyst. Nobody is going to stop you. And it will become easier for you to get into that. But don't start with something which is kind of a
Okay, okay.
non-starter at all, completely.
So your recommendations is to go on a business analyst on a IT business
Yes,
analyst.
correct. And there from here you can choose
Okay,
many paths. As I shown you 3 paths, there could be many other paths also.
exactly. Okay, that's great.
Hi,
Interesting to
Abhishek.
hear.
Yeah,
Yeah, hi, Abhishek. Good evening. This is Sandeep. Um,
yes, Sandeep.
yeah, first of all, thanks for giving the valuable advice on the career path with related to BA. So, I am having around 10 years experience in the investment banking. So now I want to switch my career to BA. So, is it advisable to go for ECBA certification or PSM certification are provided by Scrum? Because now we can see many of the projects are migrating to Agile. Which one is better to opt for the market demand? I'm saying, as per the market demand. Could you advise,
Uh,
please?
yes. No. So if you see the path A, okay, you can see here
Yeah.
agile is there. This is the agile path, but
Oh,
still,
okay.
I'm suggesting starting it as business analyst because whether you are doing agile or non-agile, there are certain
Okay.
fundamental skills of a business analyst which you have to learn,
Okay.
and that is beyond just getting into agile or some other similar approaches. That is one.
Okay.
Number two is that Scrum Master. Uh, can you go on mute? I think somebody's mic is there's a lot of background noise. Yeah, thank you. So Scrum Master is not a business analyst profile, and that is have no connection with business analyst. It's absolutely
Oh,
nothing to do with business analysis. So if you want to become a Scrum Master, you can become a Scrum Master. There's no problem in that. But then I'm not sure if Scrum Master has a very promising future just as a Scrum Master because it's a role which does not have too much of so to speak the meat in it. It's a role which is more like a
oh,
process guide or a referee kind of a person. Okay, there's nothing core to it. So
okay.
my advice is don't target that. If you want to get into IT, try business analysis path. It's a much better path to enter IT industry.
Okay,
Hello.
okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
This is BC. Please, I'm in a sales career at the moment, so I would like to understand what career paths can I go through to accelerate my career in sales using with the diagram you have. Do I go for a business analyst first, then for a data analyst? Then how does it help me in accelerating my career?
Currently, what are you doing? What is your role?
I'm a sales executive.
Sales executive. Okay, so see, uh, there are a lot of videos in my previous webinars where I have discussed about how a non-IT professional can become a business analyst. In fact, I have one video which specifically talks about moving from sales to business analysis. Okay, see the point simple for any from any profile to becoming a business analyst. Look at it from a simple perspective is that there are certain requirements for business analyst profile. Sorry. Yeah. So for business analyst, becoming a business analyst, you need certain skills, right? Now, if you have none of those skills, you need to learn all of that. Then only you can become a business analyst because that is how you'll crack the interview and then you can be hired. If you're coming from any other background, you need to now see which of these skills which are required to become a business analyst you already have. That I call as carryover skills. So some of the skills you can carry over. So this is a video which I recorded, I don't know when, but maybe 1 year ago. So you can watch it. There's a step-by-step description. But the fundamental thing which you need to understand is that as a business analyst, you need certain skills. Okay. So let's say, for example, you need to know how to create a document called SRS, how to create a process flowchart, or X1, X2, X3. These are some of the skills which you need. Okay. Now, as a sales professional, do you have any of these exist roles, kind of skills currently you have, or you have some kind of a background to any one of these? If not, you need to learn all of that. So for example, since you mentioned sales, what you might be having right now is the ability to manage stakeholders, which is you interact with customers, right? As a salesperson, you have to interact with customers. Otherwise, you can't sell your products. Agreed?
Agreed.
That is one of the skills which business analysts need to have, because as business analysts, you need to constantly interact with your customers. That's a plus point which you carry as a sales executive. Second point, how do you sell a product? Do you first talk to the customer to understand what do they want?
Absolutely.
If
That's
you're
what we
gathering
call
the
need analysis.
correct.
Yes.
So do you also do that as a business analyst? Answer is yes. As a business analyst, you also do the needs analysis. You have to talk to the customers to understand what is their need. That is what we discussed in the earlier slides, right? Which means from a sales professional to becoming a business analyst, you already have certain skills which you can carry over, right? So, which means that the path to becoming a business analyst is not so difficult after all from a business analyst profile. So choose a course, choose a learning methodology. You can do self-learning, you can do a course, but focus on what is required to become a business analyst, and that is well explained in that video which I just now showed. All right, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. It does. It does.
Yeah, so SP, I think you can see SP as your name. You can see the slide.
Hi, Mr. Abhishek. This is Anand. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sure. So, in part C, which is currently the part that I am in, the BA part C. So I'm also currently working as a senior business analyst or a mid-level to senior business analyst. So in order to move to a domain SME, I know like you call some specifics like SAP, Salesforce, and so on. So, however, in my profile, I'm more working as a project BA, working with stakeholders, gathering requirements, and giving it to the IT team, working closely with the IT team to develop a solution, which is nothing but a web application. And I'm also into the healthcare domain. So for me, when you say domain, I'm not anything related to product specific. I'm not a product geek like in cloud or SAP or Salesforce along those lines. And those are I'm not so quite closely working with any of those products. So when I say domain SME, can I think of it as if like becoming a domain SME in healthcare in my case, for example? Is this a
Yes,
valid? Okay.
yes, pretty much. So domain SME can be a product SME, or it could be a business domain SME.
Okay.
So choose healthcare, which is quite niche, but quite a strong demand is there. It may not be every company will have a healthcare domain SME requirement, but there are a lot of companies which are working in that area, and there will be demand for that.
Sure. Sure, Sheikh. Thank you. That has answered my question, Sheikh. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, sir. My question is, I'm a person who is having the programming and database administration or DB programming background. Since last 2015 onwards, I am working as a coordinator for my company, my organization, with a software developer, with a software company for developing e-commerce and ERP applications. Am I eligible to attend a higher level of business analyst course like CCBA or CBAP?
Uh, may not be, because see, there are the way CBAP and CCB eligibility works is that you need to have experience in 6 of the domains which Babok describes, which is more like some of the common things is like requirements gathering, creating flowcharts, creating needs document, or creating requirements document. Those are the areas which are pretty much required. Okay, so uh, you may not qualify right now if you're only doing what you have described to me.
Okay. Yeah, what I'm doing is right now collecting the user stories from my colleagues and reporting to the development team, and based on that, we are developing the applications. 2-3 projects I implemented, but not in the proper way, as you said. We are not preparing in SRS like that. Documents we prepared, we have, but not everything in the proper way. Through email communication, what we are doing is through the
No,
email communication, but
SR,
we have
SRS
some
is not
tools.
SR is not important. See, if you are writing, since you mentioned user stories, so if you're writing user stories, and if you are wherever you're maintaining it, that's irrelevant. Even if you're using an Excel sheet or Jira, that is counted as business analysis activity.
Okay. The user stories we are
Okay.
maintaining in the Excel sheet, and we are communicating through the emails, and we have a backtracking tool. This kind of tools are also we are using, and almost all domains we are covering under the ERP domain, like payroll, sales, procurement, property.
Yeah. So that is something which is business analysis work. So
Yeah.
I
But
suggest,
here the problem,
yeah,
but here the role is something different. My role is IT assistant manager, senior system analyst, something like that.
that doesn't
That's why.
matter. Designation is unimportant.
Mhm.
IBA is not going to look at your designation at all. It's the work which you are doing, which is what is relevant. So just focus on that. So look at IAB's website and eligibility criteria. Since you're doing some of the work which sounds like business analysis, you may still qualify for at least CCBA.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And one more question: is there any difference between the business analyst and business system analyst? Both are same.
We
I
have to
mean,
look at the fine print. It should not be a difference, but in some cases, business systems analyst, which I've seen, could be a little more tech oriented. Okay, that is a possibility, but generally they're all kind of bucketed into same category.
okay. Thank you.
Hello, Abhishek.
Yes.
Good evening. This is Savita from Chennai.
Yep.
I was a PeopleSoft techno-functional consultant until 2011 and had to take a career break. Now
Mhm.
I've had a chance to explore a people analytics role in a firm. So if I take it up, they offer a consultant kind of a role where I have to deal with HR people and the HR business partners.
Hmm.
So when I take up this consultant kind of job, will I be eligible to do CBAP eventually? Which is more or on the lines of the previous question.
Yes. Again, so no designation or no profile name which you are offered by your organization is relevant here. It's about the activities which you do. So if you are
Okay,
involved in the activity of understanding the requirements, interacting with the stakeholders, capturing requirements, interacting with your dev team to get the things done, you're doing business analysis activity. It all
so
qualifies.
uh, does the dev team an essential part for a BA, or can it be two teams and you're facilitating between two teams? Does that count?
Yes, it does. That's a
Okay,
stakeholder collaboration. It does. See,
okay,
at the end of the day, whether you are going via three hops or two hops or directly, okay, all of
okay,
that, you still need to communicate something, right?
okay.
Without that,
Yeah,
you can't interact with any layer. So that is where that is all counted as business analyst.
fine. Thank you, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Is there any recommendation letter from the head of the institution or the reporting manager is required for attending the CPAP exam? I had a
Now
news
it's
like
not.
that.
No, now it's not required. See, earlier they had a provision that you need to have your reporting manager also as one of the references. So you need to give two references. Okay. So earlier they wanted one reference to be your reporting manager. Now that
Yeah,
is removed. You can give one reference who is CBAP certified professional, and one anybody in your colleague, your senior, anybody you can give, not necessarily always reporting manager. So they recommend that you give a reporting manager, but it is not mandatory.
how I can climb to IABM? I have done this work since last 5 years or 3 years, something like that, through the Excel sheet.
No, not Excel sheet nowadays. It's just you go there and there are 6 knowledge areas which are listed. You just need to put in your hours. How many hours you have over the last 10 years? How many hours you have spent in each of the knowledge areas or each of the areas? Like one of the area is called elicitation and collaboration, which is requirement gatherings and stakeholder collaboration. So it doesn't ask you for any sub rows or anything. You just put one block hours. That's all.
Hi Abhishek, one more doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, among which methodologies like waterfall, agile, which is having more demand in the current market?
Agile.
Since I'm into banking, which one is having good demand in the coming years or current market?
Coming years, agile for sure. Scrum, specifically
Oh,
Scrum.
okay. Done.
Hi, Mr. Abhishek. This is Anand. I have one last question here. So what is the difference between a business analyst and a mid-level, sorry, and a agile business analyst in a project in an IT project world?
See, business analyst is more like a generic role. Okay. So you are basically learning all the techniques which are required to perform your responsibilities as a business analyst, be it waterfall, be it agile, be it hybrid. So you are generally prepared for all kinds of business analysis activities. But when you are working as agile BA, you are specifically working and equipped enough to be part of an agile project.
Okay,
So you know more than a general business analyst who may be aware of certain things in business analysis for agile world, but not a specialist. Agile BA is a specialist.
okay. Thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah. All right. So I don't see any more questions. So I hope I have answered all your questions. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for participating. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, Abhishek.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
valuable.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.